Welcome. We are live. Well, kind of live. We pre-recorded this. Kind of cheated a little bit because my guest, Miss Dr. Ebony Morrow, um, could not make it tomorrow, and we really wanted to have her on our show. And she was such a pleasure and such a team player to go, "Yep, I'll do it. Let's make it happen." So, mental health, it starts at home. It really does. Last week we talked about self-love starts at home. And Miss Jen Colomanaris gave us some tips on how to get in that self-love space. And Ebony actually is going to be a design client of mine. This young lady just recently got her doctorate degree, and she hasn't walked, but she is an official doctor, and yay to that, to all that work.
Graduation downloading.
What's that?
I said graduation downloading, December
Graduation
11th.
downloading, yes. But she comes to us with a plethora of knowledge for basic mental health. She is currently and has been a crisis intervention counselor working with youth. And she's right here in our backyard in the Conroe ISD area right now working with youth, and has agreed to share with us some of the things that she has seen in all of her dealings with youth. And particularly, we want to talk about, that you may not know that you can get mental counseling, grief counseling, crisis counseling from the comforts of your home. So welcome, Ebony. Tell us a little bit about background that maybe I missed, and then let's jump right into, something that, our viewers might want to hear about, how they, what that means to them, what they should look for, what are challenges, what are, some folks that this could really help in terms of getting counseling virtually now.
Okay. Thank you, Kat, first of all, for having me on. I really appreciate this opportunity to get a chance to join you in your space.
So absolutely. My pleasure.
And then just as you said, I just completed my doctoral program in marriage and family therapy. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist who currently works remotely conducting virtual sessions for clients. Primarily, I work with couples, families, individuals, and of course, with the pandemic, what we're seeing a lot of right now is heightened mood stuff. So in terms of anxiety, depression, how to be at home with my spouse all the time.
And, I've read about that's been on the incline. So, this isn't really about someone that, that just has, say, a bipolar or schizoaffective or is diagnosed with anxiety. But, as you and I talked before the call, Ebony, so many of us, children as well as adults, with or without diagnosed mental illnesses, have really been challenged because of the lockdown, because of the change in the dynamics. I've talked about this before. My husband and I, who's also my business partner, we've worked together side by side for the last 2 or 3 years now. So it wasn't new to us, but for many folks, I have friends professionals who were, both sequestered at home, and they had to give themselves zones, so they wouldn't kill each other. And,
right.
So yes, such a need. So are you seeing, because currently you provide under, I think we posted that Transitions Therapeutic Services, which is remote. Is that right? It is remote
therapy?
That is
correct. Transitions Therapeutic Services is actually based out of McKinney, Texas. So I recently relocated to the Houston area from Dallas, where I was able to work in person, go into the office and see clients face to face. And my clinical director and team was gracious enough to allow me to stay on and see clients virtually, because my clients didn't want to lose me. And of course, I didn't want to lose any of them. So the
No.
transition was very smooth, and they made that possible for me by allowing me to go virtual.
That's wonderful because, I just want to interject here, Ebony. Finding a therapist is, I've, advised folks before that, maybe you have to go to more than one, because it's no different really than I tell my discovery call, my design clients, which hopefully you and I are going to work together soon, is, let's have a discovery call and find out if we're a good fit. Because it doesn't mean that I'm a bad designer or you're a bad therapist or whatever, but is there a symbiotic, connection? Is there a connection there that you can work together? Because whether we're, up leveling our personal spaces to reflect who we are, or we are up leveling our mental spaces to uncover who we are, that takes a special connection. Would you agree with that? And I'm sure that's why so many people wanted to stay with you.
Absolutely. And when you're searching for therapists or counselors or coaches with whatever route you decide to go, fit and a good connection is extremely important, because it's going to make your work meaningful, more deep, and it's going to get you to achieve your goals. But if that fit is not there and you're just trying to force something, the work that you do together is going to be quite difficult.
So it should feel comfortable to one degree. But would you agree, Ebony, that a good therapist, whether virtual or in person, should gently and lovingly push you to maybe an uncomfort level so that you can be a better you? Because,
Absolutely.
you got to do that in life, right? Maybe go to your uncomfortable level.
Here's a little secret about me, I'll tell you guys. My clients actually have deemed me the challenger. Okay,
Ooh.
because I'm known for challenging you to go to those places that you don't necessarily want to go because it's uncomfortable, or it's a place that you've tried to forget or even avoid. But sometimes it's necessary to be uncomfortable for just a little while to get to that success place, to get to that comfort place. I mean, it's just like what you do, Kat, in home design. I imagine the conversation that you and I had over the phone, the way that you set up the home is very therapeutic in nature, making sure that the right pieces are there, right? So your therapy work has to be the same way. You're looking for that comfortable space. You're looking for that zen, or that, what do you call it when things match and are clean lines? You're looking for all of that, even in your therapy work.
Cohesive and peaceful and all of that. Yes, but yeah, you're so right. Sometimes we have to get into an uncomfortable level to push through to really what's going to be our joy and be our next step. I think too many times, we just, keep doing, what is that to say? Keep doing the same things and expect a different result, and that's called insanity.
Right.
You got to change it up and do something different. I really resonated with the the crisis counseling that you do with youth, and you and I chatted a little bit about this. Share with our audience, because I thought that was so eye-opening. You had said that there was some sort of a survey on what youth were looking for in their school environment in terms of, I guess health issues, mental health issues, and share with our audience what those studies showed.
So part of our conversations in the counselor meetings is, what are kids needing? What are we seeing trends in? And the students that I get, they truly are in a state of crisis when they come to me. They are in a heightened emotional state because of something that has happened or changed in their life. A lot of that recently has been death. So as the counselors and I have been meeting, part of the concern was, the holidays are coming up. Do we need to put groups together to help children deal with grief as they go into the holidays? So as we were having this conversation, the idea came up, well, let's ask them what they want. And surprisingly enough, I don't remember the exact number that we've surveyed so far, because part went out one day and the other part went out today.
Right.
So with just the numbers we did get, there was 35% of a small population that had responded so far. They said, we want self-regulation. How do I manage my emotions? And what we found just going through some of the comments that were made is students are struggling to deal with all of the different emotions that they're experiencing. And they can't identify what it is or where it's coming from. So they're asking, hey, if you're going to do this for me, so like we're thinking, oh, they're having really a lot of trouble with grief. Well, maybe that's really not the big thing right now, and we need to put an ear to the door and hear what the kids are saying and asking for.
I like that. Yeah, go figure. Ask them. Ask them what they want. And you and I chatted a little bit about this pre-show, and that is that youth are so riddled with the hormones, and their changing bodies, not even adding in the equation of the whole, like you say, COVID kid and the COVID conundrum, and then who knows what's going on at home, and throw a little bit of death into that, and other troubles. So reeling them in to identify it, I would think that's where you come in, because that would be kind of difficult. Can they, in your experience, do they sometimes, they just don't know, or do you go through a process where you can kind of peel the layers of the onion, if you will, and get down to what is it really? And again, not to put light, I know it's exacerbated. As I mentioned to you, I have a young granddaughter who's going through early puberty, so the hormones can certainly, you don't even know where it's coming from. But what are your techniques in drilling down to, harness those emotions, if you will?
One of the things I do like to do, especially with children, and I do this both virtually and in person, is I really try to help them name just any emotion that they can think of. I use what we like in therapy, the emotion wheel, that has all these different emotions on it. And depending on the age group, I may even have some pictures to help them identify, well, what does this look like? So in helping them be able to do that, everything may be, I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm mad. But then when you get to the core of it, that's really not the emotion that I feel. I'm sad because something happened, but because I don't know how to express that, it came out as angry, or it presented as a disappointment or hurt, or whatever the case may be. I like to use the emotion wheel in conjunction with the anger iceberg, because when you think about the picture of the iceberg, the tip may be anger, but what else is underneath there? And by showing kids those visualizations, they're able to really, well, you're right, I'm really not mad about that, but because I didn't know how to say it, or I didn't know what was under there, then my go-to is anger, because I'm familiar with that emotion.
Exactly. And that's a huge one. I think I remember years ago reading and listening to Dr. DeAngelis back in radio in Southern California. I don't know if you're familiar with her. And she talked about that, how how the conversation, let's say someone's late for dinner, let's say a relationship, and they're late for dinner, husband's late for dinner, he doesn't call, and husband comes in, and and she's angry. Maybe she throws a dish, maybe she throws a shoe, she's just angry, because we really have not been taught as human beings how to navigate our emotions, typically, which is why we need therapists like you because we're not taught to go, you know what, honey, it really hurt me when you didn't call me to let me know you were being late. I cooked a gourmet meal and it's been in the oven, and it makes me feel like you don't love me. I'm really hurt. That would have a much different response than I'm sure what took place. You just managing me, and the whole, because anger begets anger. But I don't think I wasn't taught at my home to go, okay, let me express my feelings. Let me own my feelings. And
I like that you're even using that part about the ownership of feelings, because so many times we as human beings, whether you're child or adult, you put those feelings onto other people, and you expect them to deal with it. So in the work that I do, I really try to help individuals. Even in my work with couple, we still have to do that individual piece so that you can own the stuff that you're feeling. And then we have to identify, where have I placed my expectation based on the need? What is the need that is unmet here? And who am I expecting to meet that need? Because much of the time, those needs, some of them can be met by you, but your expectation is that someone else will meet them.
Is that it? You know, what's it from that movie? You know, you complete me, and really, nobody should complete anybody. A whole should come with a whole, and together you're more. And together you're more, right?
Exactly.
It makes me think about when you talk about that dynamic. You know, that we sometimes in relationships expect someone else to fill some psychological or emotional need for us, and we're angry about it, and it comes back to the circle of self-love. We need to take ownership, right? And of, you know, because happiness is what I say, happiness is an inside job.
Exactly.
We need to do our work with the help of experts like you. We need to do our work to identify that. And would you agree? Don't you think the hardest part really is for folks to, I call it taking the sheet off your head, because until you realize that you need help, you're really just in the dark. You won't do any self-healing or self-correcting. Do you get a lot of clients like that? They're just in denial?
Absolutely. Because I do couples and family work, people come to me rather with fix them. They're the problem. Fix the kid's the problem. Fix the husband or the wife. You know, they come with that fix it mentality. And then when we get into the grunt work of it all, they start to realize, like, oh, wait, it was me all along. Well, it's not just the me, it's the both of you together. So how do we integrate what's going on with me as an individual with what's going on with me as a husband or a wife or a mother or a father, sister, brother, so forth and so on.
Oh, that's key. I'll bet you get that 9 times out of 10. They're in there and they're like, okay, see how messed up he is?
Yeah. Don't you agree? Didn't you see that?
Yeah, see what he just did? See what she just did?
Lots of that.
It's quite a dance, isn't it?
It is.
To make that all work. But how rewarding to be able to give couples, children, etc., tools, you know, to help navigate through that. You know, how many times do you find, Ebony, where maybe you're counseling, you know, kids through the, you know, crisis intervention? It's a family dynamic thing. Like you said, it's not just like, say, one partner or the other. It's the dynamics and integration of healing the both of them. How many times do you see that really the whole family needs
every
intervention?
Single time.
I
am a systems therapist at heart. I'm a biology major. My undergrad work was in biology. So I am systems through and through. And I'm a firm believer and observer of the interactions and interdependence of those systems working together or attempting to pull themselves apart. And so the work that I do with children, 9 times out of 10, is truly embedded in what's going on with parents, what's going on with community, even what's going on in the larger context of school. So there's just so many dynamics that children are being washed away in that we really have to be aware of. And you have to be able to tap into that and hone into that as a good therapist. You know, taking those things into consideration, because every single thing really does play a huge part and a huge role into helping them get to a better place or a different place.
How many times do you, not to be negative, but just to bring it out there, how many times do you run across where there's issues at home, but the parents really are in denial and don't want to address it? Is that often an issue or not?
Absolutely. And then if you consider the school system, am I to call home and say that there's a problem at home? You're a school counselor. They keep that at the school, right? So, I
Mm.
mean, it happens often, more often than not, than people imagine or want to accept or acknowledge. But
Mm.
I think that the position that I'm in is very unique, and that I do have these therapeutic skills and this license behind me that has made me a better school counselor. So I'm able to kind of pull them in a way that is, it builds rapport, and they learn to trust me. And then they understand, like, I'm not attacking your parenting skills. I'm not attacking you as, a mom or a dad. I want to help you be better communicators. I want to help you, bridge the gap between the disconnect that's being created because your child is going through puberty, or because
Yeah.
they're getting ready to leave the nest, whatever that looks like.
Right.
And the best part about this, Kat, is not in school counseling, but in the private practice world, I get to do this while you're in the comfort of your home. I get to see you in your natural environment. What does that look like? Because
I
you're
love
not
that.
in the
Yeah.
counselor's office, right?
Yeah. That's awesome. And that was our whole topic. Mental health wellness. It can start at home, and it really does start at home because for the most part, a huge portion of the dynamics of the disconnect and or connect is under the roof of our home.
Absolutely.
That's kind of the launching, platform to go out into the world. So I really love that technology and your services has opened that up so that anyone and as can get help. And you and I talked before the show. Folks who don't drive, have special needs kids, just busy schedules, time frames, etc., can really take advantage and benefit, from an in-home counseling, virtual counseling. So I absolutely love that. Um,
Uh,
what's something else that we haven't talked about that you'd like to share with our audience? We still have a few minutes before we sign off, and really liking all this information and all your wisdom on this. What else would you like to share with our audience about in-home services that maybe something that you run across that folks should be prepared for, or you know, questions they need
one
to
of the
ask?
things, one of the conversations rather that I recently had with a couple is the stigma still, even in today's times when things have been so hard for people. People still believe that you seek therapy because you're in trouble or because you need help, as far as like you have some major disorder, mental health disorder. But you
Ah,
can have therapy, counseling, coaching. You can do that just to clear your head and to find space to create something new and different and exciting in your life too.
I like
Not
that. That'd be a
because
good
things are
name.
going bad.
Clear head coaching. And that's a good point that you brought that up because, I'm from the day then it was a real stigma. It was they didn't even have counselors, coaches. It was psychiatrists, or shrink. I got to go to a shrink, and so there was a huge stigma. Myself, growing up in the '60s, my mother really did need help, and my dad forbade it, because of that stigma.
Yeah.
I think we've come a long ways from, 40, 50 years ago. Um, but you're still seeing that some people have that kind of antiquated premise that to see even a counselor, that, basically, I think the word counselor is used more than a psychiatrist or therapy, or anything like that. But you're still seeing out there that some people have a stigma about that.
Right. And I do want to point out with that is do your research, do your homework, because I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. That's my title. So I go by therapist. That's the
LSMFT, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yes. So that's the title that I use because my license is as a therapist.
Right.
And then you have your LPCs, and you have people who are coaches. Different people are getting certifications and license in different areas. Your LPCs, they're licensed professional counselors. So they go by the
Ah,
title of counselor. But
ah,
the reality is we work with similar ideas and concepts. Our theories and models are just different, right? But again, it's about that fit. What is it that an MFT can provide for me that maybe a LPC cannot? Or what is it
And
that a
and and what
LPC
and what? Not to stop you, but so because I wouldn't know. I mean, I know more initials is better, more letters is better. But of course, there's marriage and family. So just the top of your head, what would be the difference from a statistical standpoint? Not a fit between an LPC and an LSMFT. I'm sure a number of years training,
the
right?
type of training?
The type.
I have more specialty training under my belt
Okay.
than say someone with an LPC, but it literally boils down to the type of training and the theories that we use.
Ah,
There is room enough at the table for all of us to eat,
yes.
but you have to decide what is it that you need. Because I am trained in marriage and family therapy, then my skill set is stronger in some areas, whereas LPCs may not have that strength. Not saying that they don't work with marriage, or couples or families, but their training, they may have had to seek out more specialized training if that's the area that they want to work in. But again,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
it's
So
just
do your and
training.
coaching, just life coaching is a big thing. Everybody getting their life coach, you know, credentials or what have you. And again, not to put those down because do you resonate with where they come from? What are their modalities of healing, of mental healing? You know,
Yeah.
is it more into meditation and crystals and positive affirmations? Is it into the dynamics of communication, which of course the LS, your credentials would lend itself towards that more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming, and you know, again, it bears saying more than once. Communication is key. I tell my clients this. I don't think you can over communicate, and that's just my concept because um, you need to make sure you're on the right page. You need to make sure that you're a good fit, particularly in something as personal as sharing your innermost um, you know feelings, etc., with the therapist. So so does the therapist have the skill set that for the dynamics that you're looking to navigate, whether it's family, maybe it's what is that other credential? Dependency? Isn't there another credential
The
for?
licensed chemical dependency counselor. So
Yep, yep,
those are
yep.
people are going to work more with substance use.
There you go. Yeah, license dependency, chemical dependency, exactly. So yeah, just do your homework and look at the credentials to see if it fits your dynamic. But I really truly believe everyone and anyone um, needs to have a sounding board to help navigate through the very complex process of being human. And it doesn't mean you're mentally ill. It doesn't,
Absolutely.
yeah, there's no, we talked before the show about labels and stigmas and things like that. No one is looking to, well, you are blah, blah, blah. I think that limits us. It compartmentalizes us to put labels on as such because, you know, I have a saying that is, that I believe we're all dysfunctional and came from dysfunctional families of different varying degrees.
Exactly. I
Would you agree with
agree.
that, Ebony?
I absolutely agree. Look, I can only speak for my family. I love us the way we are, but there's definitely some dysfunction there.
There you go. And you just learn to navigate through it.
Absolutely.
Navigate through it. One of the most interesting things I had read was, well, how do you navigate and communicate lovingly with a narcissist? With loving detachment. And that stuck with me. Ah, I can do that. I
Right.
can do that. Loving detachment. Because I'm kind of, I'm kind of innately, it's like, well, I want to fix everything. If there's something wrong or someone's not, I want to fix it. And I've had to learn to let go and be lovingly detached.
Absolutely. And I would tell people who are listening to listen to yourself, listen to your heart, and to that intuition. That's a thing for a reason.
Mm,
And it's going to tell you the yeses and the nos. So if you feel that pull, go in the direction that you believe you should go in.
I
And then
love
if you
that.
can't have the answers, then find me.
There you go. I love that. Listen to your intuition. A dear friend of mine who's going to be a guest on my show calls it the inner knower. Listen to your inner knower. Don't ignore it. As Ebony says, it's there for a reason. You know,
Absolutely.
don't count on labels or someone else to tell you what you are, what you should be. Listen to this. Listen to your heart. And if you need some help navigating through that, you can reach out to Dr. Ebony Morrow, LMFT.
Absolutely.
What's the best way to reach you? This is going to be posted for those who watch this. Is going to be posted on our YouTube channel. And by the way, if we haven't met, I'm Kat Trelinas with Sit Out by Kat. I usually say that at the top of the show. That's okay. What's the best way for someone to reach you, Ebony, if they didn't want to wait till this goes on YouTube?
So they can reach me via phone, text, or call through 281-757-1726. Again, they can leave message or text, and I will respond within 24 hours. Or you
Awesome.
can email me at ebony.morrow1998@gmail.com.
Awesome. And that'll be posted up on a ticker tape on our YouTube channel. Ebony, thank you so much. You have been a joy. And I just wish and hope for anyone listening to this, take care of your mental health, your family's mental health. If you can't go out someplace, Ebony can do it in the comfort of your home. And I love that. And have a great weekend. This is being broadcast on Friday. And as usual, stay hopeful, stay positive, and stay connected. And if you're not hopeful, go get hopeful, go get positive, and go get connected. And I thank you for connecting with me and Dr. Ebony Morrow today. And namaste. The divine in me honors the divine in you. Go make it a great weekend. And thank you so much. I will talk to you on the flip side, Dr. Morrow.
Thank you.